Hello, this is Smoke and Joe Gamer, and this is episode 3 of the Vinyl Guy. In this series, I pick one of my records from my vinyl collection, and I talk about it, review it, let you know what I think, and I show you what it's all about. So, in this latest episode, this is a brand new album. It just came out about a week ago. So today's October 7th. I believe this released on September 27th. This is 2024. This is the Black Dahlia Murder Servitude. Just came out. It's their newest album. They're one of my favorite bands. I've been following them for a long time, and this is a good album, and let me tell you why. So, first off, we've got yet another album title that is one word, 3 syllables. That's how they do it. That's fine. Doesn't bother me at all. You've got an interesting album cover here. You've got like a whirlpool in the middle of the ocean. You've got these boats full of demons all getting sucked into it. And I think it's pretty neat, you know? And then here on the back, you've got all the song titles. If you want to see that, that's fine. So I've listened to the album a few times, the record and also a digital copy. I've listened to it through my speakers and also through headphones. There's some really cool stuff on this album. It definitely sounds like a Black Dahlia Murder album. You'll be happy to know they're still one of the best death metal bands out there. The record itself is standard gram, which is fine, and it's a good pressing. It sounds fine. No scratches, no distortion, no skips, nothing like that. So I'm just going to show it to you. I ordered this directly through nightshiftmerch.com. This is the Transcosmic Blue color variant, and it's pretty friggin' cool. It's slightly translucent with some extra stuff in there. You know, you got these spots. I think it's awesome. I love it. Very cool. And then here's the insert. This has some additional artwork that's some kind of demon. And here's all of the lyrics printed out. They're very tiny, so of course I need my glasses to read them. And that's fine. I'm just gonna put this over here. Hang on to this for now. So, yeah, this is very cool. So our song titles are Evening Ephemeral, Panic Hysteric, Aftermath, Curse Creator, An Intermission, Asserting Dominion, Servitude, Mammoth's Hand, Transcosmic Blueprint, and Utopia Black. Those are your song titles. So far, Aftermath was the first single on YouTube. They made a video for it, and then they did Mammoth's Hand, and that's like an animated video. It's actually really cool. You should watch it. And then they just recently did Panic Hysteric. That's like a performance video. It shows like concert footage and stuff. So those are the 3 songs they chose to lead off with. They're all good songs. It's fine. So my introduction to this band was Nocturnal. I had listened to a little bit of Unhallowed and Miasma, and at first it didn't really interest me that much. I was listening to other stuff at the time. This was way back when I was in college, so we're talking like 2005, because I'm old. And I remember getting a magazine. Honestly, can't remember which one it was. I don't know if it was Terrorizer. I don't know if it was Metal Hammer or something like that. But it was a whole interview with the band talking about Nocturnal. This was right when it came out. And I was like, wow, these guys seem pretty cool. I want to check that out. So the next time I was in Best Buy, I saw Nocturnal. I'm like, I'm going to buy that. I don't know, it was probably 12 or 13 bucks at the time. And so I got that CD and I listened to it, and it was like, this is awesome. Like, that's still my favorite album from them. I think it still has some of their best songs. But their sound has evolved over time. Like, this album still definitely sounds like them in a good way, but you can hear nuances and kind of subtleties in like the rhythm playing and stuff and the drum parts that might not have been present in earlier albums. So they've gone through a lot of lineup changes over the years. So that's what's important to talk about with this album. You know, you had, like, right after Nocturnal, their lead guitarist left the band, And then Deflorate is when Ryan Knight, joined the band. And then you had when Everblack came out, Shannon Lucas and Bart Williams both left, the drummer and bass player respectively. And that's when you got two new members. You got Max Lavelle and Alan Cassidy, who are now still in the band. And they're an excellent rhythm section. They've been on the past few albums, both very good players. So then Ryan Knight actually left after Abysmal. Yeah, he played on Everblack and Abysmal and then left. So Nightbringers was when they brought in Brandon Ellis, and he's an excellent guitar player. I mean, they both are. So what happened was Trevor, we all know this by now, Trevor passed away a few years ago. So Brian, the rhythm guitarist, he takes over vocals on this album, and he does a great job. He really does. And then Ryan Knight came back to the band. So you got Ryan Knight and Brandon Ellis playing on the same album, which is crazy. They're both amazing players. There's some really good lead parts, rhythm parts, soloing, you name it. It's awesome. Really good stuff on here, and just really backed up by just, Max and Alan on bass and drums. Just, they're an excellent rhythm section, both very good players. And so this album really works, It's been, almost 4 years. And prior to that, they had a new album out pretty much every 2 years, almost like clockwork. So Verminous, there was a slightly longer delay. There was a longer delay, which is understandable. But really, this is just a really cool album. Really enjoyed listening to it. So, yeah, Brian does a good job on vocals. And it's really cool to have Brandon and Ryan playing guitar on here. Both just two of my favorite guitar players. And similar to Verminous, Brandon Ellis did act as producer along with Mark Lewis. I don't know what else he's worked on. And it's still Metal Blade Records, of course. So, yeah, some really cool stuff here. Right, and so, as you may recall, Brandon joined on Nightbringers, and then he produced Verminous. And Verminous had a great sound to it. It's one of my favorite albums from them. There was a level of rhythmic, technical complexity stuff going on. And again, just awesome lead parts from Brandon. He's very good soloist and everything. So yeah, Verminous was one of my favorite albums for the year it came out. And this sounds very similar to Verminous in a good way. You can hear there's cases where they really try to change up the rhythm parts with the time changes and doing things just that are a little more technical and complex than they would have done in the past. Just more dynamic stuff going on throughout these songs. Now, the album clocks in at only about 33 minutes. The intermission track in the middle is very short. It's just some acoustic playing, which is fine. And the thing is, their old albums didn't have any acoustic playing. That's just what I'm saying. Like, they change it up a little bit. At the start and end of the album, you hear this like old-timey piano and like these ocean and wind sounds, probably, based on the cover art. And you may recall that with Verminous, you could hear sounds of like bugs and stuff, and it was gross. But this is similar. Like, it's very thematic, is what I would say. Verminous and Servitude are thematic in a way that their old albums were not. It's not a concept album, but you can see there's recurring themes. Like, it doesn't tell a story, but Servitude is the theme of the album, just talking about their usual stuff. Now, just remember, metal is all tongue-in-cheek. It's not meant to be taken seriously. So all these songs about the devil and the demons and ghosts and zombies and whatever else, it's just for shock value. I mean, that's metal. What separates metal from rock is, like, if you're not pissing people off, then it's not metal, right? It's supposed to offend people, is my opinion anyways. So, yeah, so there's this theme of serving Satan, right? And I'm not a Satanist at all. Of course not. And neither are they. But it's metal. It's fun, And I thought this was also just a great album to cover in October for Halloween, So that's it. So let me just get into it. I'm going to review these lyrics. They're very small, but the opening track, Evening Ephemeral, it describes a scene where there's a bunch of people like in a theater, there's a show, but it turns into like a sacrificial ritual and the whole place gets burned down. And it actually made me think of Parasite Eve from, PlayStation, because I actually was playing that a few months ago. Because, in the beginning, you're at the opera and then people start spontaneously combusting. That's what it made me think of. I don't know if that was an inspiration for it, but I know these guys play video games because, of course, we know they had a song called What a Horrible Night to Have a Curse, which is from Castlevania 2. Everybody knows that. So that's neat. It's very descriptive. So, like, their lyrics have always been more poetic than other bands. Like, yeah, you can criticize death metal and say, well, gee, you can't understand what he's saying. It's like, well, you kind of can once you get used to it, but also you can just look up the lyrics online. It's fine. Like, people assume that if you can't understand what they're saying, then it means it's not worth understanding, and that's just not very fair, So, yeah, the lyrics are exactly what you'd expect from them. They are poetic. They're not always profound. They can be a little cheesy and corny here and there, but it's all by design. That's just how they are. So panic hysteric, that's alliteration, right? And so, yeah, it's about a tribe of Satanists spreading whatever. Just talking about, hey, like in servitude to your base instincts and your survival instinct, right? So panic hysteric, yeah, you have this group of Satanists who want to take out the Christians in charge. It's like, sure, why not? And the song Aftermath is about the post-apocalypse, and there are people turning to cannibalism to survive. So in the theme of servitude, they are serving their survival instinct. They have to eat to live in this harsh post-apocalyptic world. That's like something out of a horror movie. And that's how you have to look at it. When you read these lyrics and listen to these songs, it's like just each song kind of tells its own story that could very well function as a horror movie. Cursed Creator is interesting because it's about Frankenstein, and it's sung from the perspective of Frankenstein's monster, basically saying, hey, why'd you create me and then abandon me, and then you made me a wife and then she died, and what the hell, dude? So it's basically, yeah, Frankenstein's monster confronting his creator. So that's interesting. It shows that they have some interest in literature and film and all that. They always have. And then the intermission is just a short little acoustic instrumental, which actually sounds pretty cool. And you don't get that a lot on their albums. They don't really do a lot of acoustic parts. So, Asserting Dominion is an interesting song. It's about werewolves, right? So you might remember that on Everblack, there was a song called Blood Mines, and it was about vampires who capture humans, take them underground, and just turn them into cattle and just suck out all their blood as needed. Yeah, so now Asserting Dominion is about werewolves who want to just, take over the world and destroy mankind. Sure. And then Servitude, the title track, is from the perspective of someone who's being tortured for information, and supposedly he knows information about the Antichrist. And they're torturing him to try to get information, and he's keeping his mouth shut and staying loyal to Satan or whatever. It's fine. Yeah. Now, Mammoth's Hand is about a group of soldiers traversing through the mountains, and I believe they had I don't know if they had actual mammoths with them. I don't know much about the history, but this is something where you may want to research this, because I think it's a historical significance. I think it's referring to a specific army. I don't think it's Hannibal with the elephants through the mountains, but could be. And this has a really cool animated video. I mentioned that already, but it's really worth watching. It's really cool, really well done. This song has just an amazing guitar solo. It's very melodic. It's kind of uplifting. It doesn't sound like anything else they've done before. It's really cool. And then Transcosmic Blueprint, when you read the lyrics, is clearly referencing 2001 Space Odyssey, right? Because remember, in the book and in the movie, there was an obelisk that appeared and made the Homo sapiens, or the early apes, made them very smart, helped them evolve. And then eventually the story goes on to show man trying to get into space. You have Hal, the AI, who tries to kill the crew members, or he kills one of them and then tries to kill the other and gets shut down. And there's the monolith, and they're trying to go to Jupiter or whatever. So that's what the song describes. So if you've seen the movie or read the book, I mean, you're going to know that's basically what the lyrics are describing there. And it also has it's like the last two tracks, they really go all out with the lead playing. So I'm not 100% sure, but I think in Transcosmic Blueprint, I think it's Brandon and Ryan both trading solos, like a calling and answering is what they would call it. And you can hear it goes from the left to the right and stuff. And then Utopia Black also has some really good playing, but across the winds, atop the waves, it's always been the same, starting as a subtle call, a fire inside, a growing pull, almost a voice, images come clear, your need to know, sincere. Right, like I said, it's poetry, basically. It may not always be profound, but I mean, there's rhyming and there's a good rhythm to all of the writing here with these lyrics. But I think it's kind of describing what we're seeing on the album cover. It's a group of Satanists. Once again, they're riding a boat, going on a quest to spread his word and all that. Yeah, hold fast to your faith. Devotion shall be rewarded. A black utopia washing over one and all. Wow. That's dark. I like it. Yeah. Yeah, just a really, really cool album. And I just want to talk about how I think it was very well mixed. I think the equalization is good. So I've listened to it on the headphones and through my stereo system here. I got a 5.1 Dolby Atmos set up here. And it's like you can hear everything. There's some real nuances and subtleties that you may not pick up on the first listen, or you may need headphones to really hear it, but the drums sound amazing. Like every hit, and like I said, the parts are very intricate, very complex, but you can hear the drums they're pretty loud, but not too loud. You can hear them kind of spread out across the mix. And then you've got on the left and on the right, you've got two different rhythm guitar parts, and there's times where they trade off solos, which sounds cool. Brian is doing vocals. He sounds fine. And again, it's a good mix. And you can really kind of hear some of the bass parts too. The thing with a lot of death metal and extreme metal songs is that sometimes the bass gets drowned out, but you can really hear it on this album. So like I said, they did a great job mixing it. They really did. And just the guitar tones, it's what you've come to expect from both of them, from Ryan and Brandon. Just their distinctive styles. You can hear it. Like Brandon likes to do a lot of stuff with the tremolo, with the vibrato, and these kind of overdubbed harmonies and stuff. And then if you recall listening to Ryan Knight's parts on Deflorate, on Everblack, especially the solo for Necropolis, it's like he intentionally plays out of tune sometimes, but makes it sound really cool and does all the sweep picking and tapping and all that other stuff that you love to hear. So it's just, you can hear each of their styles represented here. And I'm sure that Brian also contributed plenty of rhythm guitar parts, since he has been the rhythm guitarist for every other album up to this point. And I've even seen some live videos of them playing where he actually plays rhythms so that the other two can do their lead parts and stuff. So again, just a really cool album. I'm really impressed with it. It's really, these guys never fail to disappoint, let me tell you. And I'm so glad that they're still going. I think this is exactly what Trevor would want. I think he'd want them to keep going and just keep the mission going. So I definitely recommend this to fans of death metal and fans of the band, of course. And the thing with death metal, I think what a lot of people don't understand is that the vocals are just another instrument, right? With a lot of rock music, pop music, we're so used to hearing the vocals carry the melody, and the other instruments are in servitude to that melodic part, to that vocalist, right? You've got very basic drum and bass and guitar parts just kind of on a loop, like you've got maybe a minute of music just looped over and over again. You've got verse, chorus, chorus, chorus. This album, yeah, sometimes they have the verse, chorus, verse format, but they're not really in servitude to it. You've got some more dynamic stuff going on. You've got these more kind of extended bridge sections. The average track length is between 3 and 4 minutes. The album as a whole is only about 33 minutes. That's as long as it needs to be. They don't really write 5 or 6 minute songs. They don't need to. It would just be the same stuff, just looped a few more times. That's all. How many 5 or 6 minute songs have you listened to where it was really only a minute of music just looped 5 or 6 times or more? This is dynamic. They get in there, they do their thing, they finish, it's fine. You know what? I like progressive rock. I actually listen to Tool, I listen to Metallica, I listen to all that stuff, but sometimes it's like, you know what? I just want to listen to a short album. It's as long as it needs to be. It really is. So people just don't seem to understand that in death metal, you're getting these really awesome rhythm parts. In most cases, the guitars are carrying the melody, not the vocalist. The vocalist is just another instrument. Every player is getting equal weight. And that's what I meant when I was talking about the mixing on this album, is just each player is distinct. You can hear each part. You get to hear all of them. They all matter, It's not like these rock songs that are just, it's all about the vocalist, right? Like, no, that's not what death metal is about. It's about pushing yourself to play sometimes as fast as you can, but also as complex as you can while maintaining that speed. And they do have some slower tracks. Like, they don't do every track at 180 beats per minute. There are some slower ones, and this has some heavier riffs and stuff. Again, just really impressed with it. Just has a lot more to offer than some of the other metal bands who just repeat themselves over and over again for 5 minutes. I think it's great. And yeah, the lyrical content, yeah, you may get offended by it, and it's kind of supposed to offend you. That was the point I was trying to make before. So yeah, you may not like the lyrics, but it's fine. It's like you listen to a lot of the stuff on the radio now, the lyrics are garbage. So I've listened to plenty of songs where I could understand the words they were saying, but I don't know what any of it meant because it was in some kind of jargon. This is more poetic, even if the subject matter is dark and evil, for lack of a better word, but it's fine. This is some really cool stuff. So there you have it. Black Dahlia Murder, their latest album, it's good. If you like the band, go get it. If you like death metal, you owe it to yourself to check these guys out. You really do, and I'm glad they're still going. Always going to miss Trevor. He was a great guy, but I'm glad they decided to keep going. So, all right. Thanks for watching. See ya.